growing. Each youth that comes through our doors goes through a resiliency test, and we ask them a series of questions where they can answer on their own. There are no right or wrong answers, but at the end of the day, it helps us get to know them a little bit more, and in turn helps us get a better understanding of what programs we need to bring on board based on how our scores are. And right now we know that science and math are really hard. We know that a lot of our kids don't feel like they belong in school because they don't get support. So now we're diving deeper, and our youth development program really helps us get to know who these kids are and why they're there, who they consider family to be. And a lot of them will say their friends who have invited them to come to the city center are their family members.
Awesome. And I love that earlier when we were talking, you said that this is spread by word of mouth, that these are not kids that were affiliated with your church. These are kids from the community that don't have anywhere to be. So this is a safe place, and they're getting just complete positive influences, whether they want to work out physically or whether they want to work to improve themselves, which is great. What is the age range of the kids that are coming to you?
13 to 17-year-olds.
Okay, so they're a little older. These are not your youngsters. And is there a fee? Can they just come anytime? Is there a certain time frame that they can show up?
We ask that they come outside of school hours.
Okay, so after 3.
After 3 p.m., and they will start flooding the doors around 3:30 to 4. Again, it's a fun environment for them. They get to play with state-of-the-art gaming. We have brand new pool tables, foosball table, Xboxes. We have a beautiful indoor basketball court, which a lot of the kids just kind of flock to.
Well, and you also have a study center, and I believe you have plans to have computers and a library there as well. And there are no fees for the kids to come to this.
That's
correct?
right. Yeah,
Okay.
we really wanted to put a signature of love with these teenagers. You know, you said something important that, you know, they're a little bit older. And, you know, demographics are very challenging in Stockton for teenagers. There's nothing for them to do. There's no centers of this magnitude, so we're very fortunate to have a facility that not only is excellent, but it's inviting.
There's a teen center downtown, but it's not conveniently located for a lot of students, and your facility, quite frankly, is a lot bigger than comparatively than that facility, and it's amazing. And I love that, and we'll go back into the funding more, that at least this is funded in part by people joining as a membership to your gym, and we should talk about that. So you've highlighted some of the activities. Go back and talk about the gym. Talk about the equipment that's there. Talk about how low the price is to be a member, and how much of that goes back to the programs for the kids.
Well, what's interesting is that in 2010, when I looked at that beat up old warehouse, and it wasn't much, but we used what we had at the time to make it an excellent facility. But we really wanted to interact with adults and kids. We believe that Stockton needs more than just a teen center, as great as the teen centers are. But really one of Stockton's issues is the interaction factor. When they see people, if they are, because we have such a wonderful tapestry, a melting pot of different diversities in Stockton, different ethnicities. And one of the things the city center brings is a beautiful unity. And that's where the gym side comes in, because it's, you know, we have a hashtag, more than just the gym. And the reason it's more than just the gym, because not only is it reaching that education component, not only is it reaching that community component, but it has a fitness component in there for adults as well. We really strive at this current city center, when you come in there as an adult, it is a state-of-the-art gym that equals any gym that you would go to, whether it's a, you know, I don't want to name the gyms, but no matter what gym you would go to, this would rival and surpass it. From our fitness classes with Les Mills, which is a very high-end aerobics, body pump, those are part of your memberships as an adult. Not only is your membership keeping kids safe, but you're getting a benefit out of it.
Awesome.
The gym equipment is over $1 million gym equipment, all new gym equipment, multiple treadmills, stair climbers, gliders, everything from free weights to machine weights. There's something for all ages at this facility. So we really want to bring that interaction, that makes a center more than just a gym. Because if we're just going after the kids, that's great, but we really want an adult to go there, get a great workout, and look across that room and see a teenager maybe playing games or playing basketball and go, my membership is keeping them here safe, giving them a great positive environment. Because see, that brings the adult hope, and then it brings them a place of, hey, I love my city. I think there's something here that I can contribute to, and also I'm getting a benefit out of it as well.
Yes, it's a win-win. That's a win-win combination, and the membership is not expensive. I've belonged to multiple gyms in our community, and this is the least expensive membership that I've participated in. And I love that it's giving back, and it's just beautiful. For those that haven't seen it, the machines are all just amazing, high-end equipment. Talk about the track that's there.
Yeah, we have, which I'm not sure, I think we're the only indoor track in the Stockton area and surrounding areas, but we have an indoor walking/running track. Phase 1 is accomplished. The track is defined. We're looking to do phase 2, which is to put the flooring on that track so you have a good cushion when you walk or run it. And it's a great thing because inside the track is the gym equipment, but you can walk around that track. We really wanted to provide a place where adults could come, and maybe the weather's not permitting them to be outside and walk, or maybe their environment is, they're not really secure to walk outside, that they could come get a membership there, walk around that track, and know that their membership matters. It keeps kids safe, and they're getting a benefit out of that as well.
Well, and a lot of places will have areas where you can run, but it's usually the basketball court. So you're dodging while people are playing basketball, or you're running during the times when games aren't going, but you're running on that hard floor, which isn't very forgiving on your joints compared to the amazing track that you have now and that you're planning to transform to make it even better. And going back to the teenage kids, it's such an important time to be reaching out and targeting and helping to mold these young minds when they're very impressionable. It's a time that they could be getting into gangs. It's a time they could be getting into drugs. And you've already said these are kids that have nowhere else to go. In 2 months, you have 1,000 kids from our community. Just imagine over time how many more kids and what a huge positive impact that's going to make in the long run. It's amazing.
You know, one of the things, too, is we have an amazing staff. Heather, who is taking on the role of the executive director, and all the staff and the volunteers there. What the City Center is about is relationships, building those relationships, not just on a large scale, but the one-on-ones to really help them. We want everybody to feel important, but we also want everybody to feel that
Welcome to KXVS 92.1 FM, the voice of Stockton. And now we have the Doug Vigil Show. Doug?
Hello, welcome on a Saturday at 3, the Vigil Show. I'm happy to announce Villapudua, thank you. As my guest, can I talk about realism? This is the forum that you're going to have an opportunity to discuss what you want to accomplish, what you want to bring out to your fellow citizen. Okay, right. But before we're going to talk. I want to talk about what's going on in the community. That a lot of people have been attacked by other people based on their religion, based on their sexual orientation, based on representation, based on what religion and things like that. I would like to make a statement because this is not a PR rated for me. I treat everyone equal. You could come in and talk about yourself as a campaign, as a candidate to come and talk. I have no preference. My job is to be neutral and have the information for the deaf community as well, and for the disabled to understand, for more resources. Okay, I would like to make a comment, and I just wrote down. We all have a different view of religion, sex, politics, and education. I am not here to judge anyone or be judged for my personal view or idea either. I respect people as they are, their opinion, their way of living, expect the same respect in return. I am a community advocate and a human being or a citizen of Stockton. I never discriminate people just because they have a different view from mine. Look, act different, even when I don't disagree with their opinion. We all have the right to think as we like and be how we want to be. So respect other and to be respectful in return. Don't force anyone on. Don't force anything on that person. Live and let live and live in peaceful. So now, since that's been said, I would like to let people know that I'm here to give education forum. So Carlo, tell me about yourself. People probably want to know your background and tell me about yourself. Okay.
First of all, I want to thank the Voice of Stockton, KXVS 92.1 FM for having me here as your guest today. I really do appreciate this. A little bit about myself. Born and raised in Stockton, California. I have 4 beautiful daughters. I think they run the household. I sometimes think that I do, but my wife says no. They run it. So
That's okay.
Yeah, but it's fun because sometimes they support me. Sometimes they vote for the mom. But it's a lot of fun. Like I said, I was born and raised here. I graduated from Sac State, where I was at this morning doing a TV show, and it was really nice because I got to talk to a lot of folks in that community that represent the San Joaquin County. And but Sac State, when I graduated from college, my first job was working for the Sheriff's Department.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I was there for 5 years, and I had an opportunity to get involved in the community. And I started working for a Northeast Community Center, where we had a lot of the elderly, and we had a lot of the children's programs. Okay. And when I started the community center, I realized that we needed to make some changes. We needed to take our kids out of their environment, especially during the summertime, but at the same time still continue to give them and provide them education. I took people out of their environment to get to know the arts, go to the city, for the first time maybe try out a baseball game, and for a lot of kids, first time to ever see the ocean. So it was really nice to have that enrichment given to our kids. But I also got to involve a lot of our seniors. You know, when I first took over the center, right around 2:30, our seniors would leave because they knew the kids were coming after school. But I wanted to change that because I knew a lot of our seniors were going home, big percent of them being alone. Mm-hmm. And I knew that keeping them at the center was going to be a benefit for all of us, especially for our kids. You know, we got our kids to be mentors to a lot of our children. Kids would come after school and come into the center, and we would have our seniors teach them mannerism, the simple things, like go wash your hands before you have a snack, open a door, sit down with one of their mentors, which was a senior, and kind of go over their homework with them. And boy, the seniors really loved that because they were active. But I've always loved working with them too. I used to do mystery trips with our seniors, and you talk about when we did trips for them. When we did a sign-up sheet, that sign-up sheet would fill up in a matter of an hour. But that was my passion, and it still is my passion. That's where I really got to meet some of the mentors and leaders in our community, and one asked me to come work for him.
Before you go there, were you a social worker also?
Yes, I graduated from Sac State with a social work degree. Okay,
so as a social worker, that is a very unique job to get to know what type of community need and support are out there in helping them.
Right.
That's what your starting base. That was like your starting point.
Right.
That way. Okay.
Right.
Perfect. All right.
And you know what? I mean, you talk about social work. I mentioned earlier that I worked at the Sheriff's Department.
Yes.
And when I was working at the Sheriff's Department, I realized that at that time, it wasn't the practice to talk to inmates and try to figure out what were their needs then. There was no kiosks or of trying to figure out where they should get help or seek for help. But I found myself always doing that at the Sheriff's Department. But that was one of the reasons why I wanted to get back into the community, because that's what I believed in, is to be able to help folks that don't know where to turn to or who to ask. And the community center was, basically, I wore so many different hats there. I was a director, I was a mentor, I was a teacher, I was, you name it. It was. We had to wear many hats, and there you don't work by appointments. You work by folks coming through the door, knowing that you somehow have to be a book of resources for whatever need they need. And that was, I really enjoyed that.
So there's like a void that you have an urge to help people in your community. So tell me, what are the things that you think that are vital to in Stockton that you have seen that are hot right now? I know there are 4 listed things that I don't know with the one with the VA hospital, and I remember we were talking about that.
Right.
And you know what? And something about what people probably might not know about you is that you serve your 2 term, at the supervisor, right?
Right.
And very rare. A lot of people don't get to their 2 term.
Right.
Very rare. So you're
Right.
very lucky person that does and do their work diligently and did that and did your homework, which was going on, what people wanted for you to do.
Right.
So tell me, what taking the veteran having a hard time? For me, just yesterday I was telling my sister's telling me, and that I'm coming from a Gold Star family, and as a Gold Star family, I came from a family of patriotic, and my dad was a World War II veteran. He was a farm boy when he was a young boy. I represent a lot of different aspects of my family life, and I undertook that as having a humility. And when my dad passed away, we had a problem going to the VA, and I know that it was a county hospital, and it was very hard. He used to come all the way to Palo Alto and come back in the transport to there, and he suffered from fibrosis in the lung. And it's very hard to breathe between time and time. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I talked to Tino Adami about it. I said, look, Tino, we need to get something going on. McNerney have not done anything done about it. He's using that as like a leverage to get him voted in again. And I personally, as the person as a Gold Star family, don't think that we don't have to be blackmail for our family to go through a struggle to do that. So tell me, as far as that concerned, what do you think that would be the cause? What can we do to have it fixed and have that subject go on?
Right. Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because the VA hospital, it is a big subject here in our community, but it always seems to be misused, especially during election time. And it shouldn't be only used during election time. It goes back years ago, even when I was just a ledge aide at the board before I became a supervisor. We were making trips to Palo Alto back and forth because we needed to figure out a location. Was it going to be in the city of Stockton, or was it going to be at the hospital next to the county hospital? A lot of people were trying to fight both sides. The city was fighting their reasons, and the county was fighting we were fighting our reasons why. I mean, I have a mom that's 70 plus years old, and I still sometimes have to take her into downtown just to take her to go. She's still old school. She loves to pay her bills by going in. And sometimes she gets a little lost. But imagine folks that are coming from the Bay Area or coming from the foothills, right, of Murphy's or Arnold or from Sacramento, and you have to guide them into downtown Stockton. I love our town. I think we have a beautiful, unique downtown. But it wasn't just about the folks here in our community. It was about the surrounding cities. So we needed to have an easier way for them to have access. Like you mentioned about your father, we needed to have someone close to the freeway. We have I-5, 99, we have 2 cross towns that they can get to make it easier. Plus the amenities we've got to have. Some folks have to stay here not just for 1 or 2 days. Their families may have to stay here for weeks, and they have to have easy access to a hotel or even to eat somewhere. And we fought hard to have that location approved. We were shovel ready. We were supposed to be 9th on the list. When we went back to DC, we found out that we were really 19th on the list. And not to say anything negative about our congressman, but there should have been stuff done early on. We did turn into Congressman Jeff Denham, who really helped us out to move us down to it was 7th on the list, and Supervisor Bob Allett and myself stayed over, and it was Leroy Ornelas also. We were at that time working hard to make sure why San Joaquin County and why the VA hospital should be next to the hospital, and it got approved. It has been approved. Now it's still waiting at the federal level, and I don't know how an assembly member could make any changes when it's still going to be approved by the feds. So, but that's a lot of people try to use that to make sure that they're involved. We're all involved, and I think all of the work has been done. Now we just have to make sure that both sides, from the Democratic side and the Republican side, make sure that they get to know why this is important and approve why those funds should go into San Joaquin County. And I know that there's still some issues here at the local level. I know that the city of Stockton has the rights for sewer and water, and there's arguments still with the VA to get that handled, but there should be no argument. There's so many people right now that are waiting for that hospital to be done. And I hate to see that folks that are not going to be able to see this hospital even get built out. So that's the sad part of it.
It is a sad part, because I do believe that the families who are still suffering now, when you're representing the people. Well, right now I know that people in this election want representative, want representation. So it's like. I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat, they have to have a meeting mind that war is not a solving solution anyway. But as far as the sacrifice that our veterans go through, and the ultimate sacrifice, came back, went to war and went to war. They were perfect. There was nothing wrong with them, and they came back broken. Right. Mental and whatever. Right. And I do believe it's a waste of time and just delay the inevitable. You know what I mean? And it's about time that we need to change the attitude. We've got Republicans, because it should be every family, whether a Republican or Democrat, have a veteran that's serving the country.
And that's the problem that we have in D.C. But let me also add this. This is the same problem that we have here at the state level. Okay. At the state level. Okay. And you asked me earlier, but why did I choose to run? And let me back up a little bit. When I was at the Board of Supervisors, we had a hospital that was losing $25 million a year. Oh, think about that. Okay. What does that do to all the other departments in the county? It hurts them, because you're pulling funds out of the same budget. And when you're losing that much money, you are not going to do any more hiring. You're not going to hire any police officers. You're not going to hire any public works. You may be looking at cutting back on parks and recs. The list goes on and on and on. But we knew we had to make some changes. And I had 3 colleagues that really wanted to sell it. And I get it, because when you're losing that much money, it's better to go ahead and give it to the private sector, who can probably turn around and make some money out of it. But the money wasn't the issue. For me, it was to keep the doors open for this community here. Okay. And it needed to stay open. And we did something very unique. We took government and started thinking like the private sector. We started getting folks that know how to run a business, people that know that worked in a bank, people that know how to balance a checkbook. We also got involved and had folks from the other surrounding hospitals sit on this board. Why was that important? Think about that. If you close that hospital right now, if you go to Dammert or St. Joseph's, you're probably going to be 2 to 3 hours waiting in the emergency room. Our hospital closes down. Guess what? Now you're jumping maybe 5, 6, 7 hours waiting. So they understood why to sit on this board. It was important. We changed that. We did different contracts. People helped us to do better contracts. My dad was dying at the hospital, and I realized that when he got air vac to UC Davis for 28 days, I always would see this nurse come in, and she would type and write down all this information. And I finally asked her, I said, what else are you doing besides taking information of the doctor? He goes, Carlos, I'm also sending billing out. I said, well, how long does billing take? And let me get back to you, she said. She got back to me the next day. Okay. 3 days. Where we were sending our bills out, it would take 2 months. Okay. So our reimbursement was always late. So we started just changing the simple little things that any business would do. And we also added a trauma center to the hospital.
I heard that they shut down. Did you reopen? Did they reopen?
Right.
They shut down for a while,
right?
Okay.
So, but we were going after different types of funding. Okay. You know, a lot of people think that the hospital was just for the poor. It's not. It's for the whole community. And, you know, we really changed things. We started making money. We paid back the county the $40 million that we owed them. And we started expanding on all of our departments.
Okay, good.
And that's, and the point why I'm saying this is this, that no one knew that I was the only Democrat working with 4 Republicans.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay. No one knew that, and it was.
And you keep it simple. Nobody didn't argue.
No, it wasn't about parties. It wasn't about party lines. It was about getting things done, and that's the reason why I'm running for this seat. Is because I see the same thing that we hear about in D.C. that you're starting to hear it, and you've been hearing it here in the state of California, and there's a lot of us like myself.
Okay, before you go in for those of the people who are not sure what party line means, can you explain what that means before we go in? Because the people might not be confused with party line, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. What does that mean? Yeah,
well, I mean, you know, there is parties. You got folks that are Republican, Independent, and then there's Democrats. Okay. And here at the local level, it really is not as important because you treat it as a bipartisan position. Okay. And the bipartisan, you don't really talk about if you're a Democrat or Republican. It has nothing to do with what we vote for or decide on here locally. Okay. But at the state level, which is the scary part, is because people say, well, you don't have to choose a side, Carlos. Well, I've always chose to take a side that's going to be the best side to make the best decision for my community. Okay. And I don't owe anything to the Bay Area or to LA. I owe my community, my voters here that vote me in. I owe it to them to decide. I owe them to hear their concerns. Okay. And that's why I'm running, is because, like I said earlier, this state needs more folks that does not think about party lines to get things accomplished.
I do agree. I think right now people are honestly, we're going to move on to the next one, but from my opinion, I don't think people really don't care. The community really don't care. It's what gets things done. You know, right. You know, we don't care about what party line you got. Now, when you vote in, we're more concerned about, are we going to get our representation met?
Right.
That's the main part of it. I've been hearing a lot now. Now the election right now. Are you going to be representing us? Are you going to be representing a special interest group? Are you going to be representing the people that have no voice, like the farm, that being like the immigration? Are they going to be protected? Amnesty, whatever. Those are the things that are crucial for our humanity. That's what they're more concerned. So tell me, what other thing that have you been hearing that people want you to get into, to get in office and get this taken care of?
Right. Well,
so what is
the main thing is that we continue to raise taxes here in our community. And when you continue to raise taxes, it's hard on everyone. And recently you guys have been seeing gas prices go up. For a lot of folks, you can go into a gas station, and I've seen it. I was just there this morning, and when you put $50 in, does it hurt you? It's expensive. But what hurts me the most is when I see a younger gal or a younger gentleman who's only putting in $5 because that's all they can afford just to get themselves from A to B. That's what hurts.
Right.
That's what's hurt. Most people can pay the $50, but when I see that, that's what touches my heart. And when you continue to raise taxes on gas, on the whole community, you're going to drive jobs away. And that's why you starting to hear folks are saying they're taking their business elsewhere. They're taking it to Nevada. They're taking it to Texas. I mean, it's very easy just to look at the TV, and you start seeing all the flip channels that my wife watches, and she sees that everyone is buying these homes in Texas. Why? Because they're moving from California there.
Well, I definitely agree with saying there's a lot of regulation, a lot of that would stop progress. You know what I mean? As far as business concern, like they always have to have some kind of permit. You have to have some regulation. You have to pass some health inspection. You have to pass a lot of inspection, and that's how you. And it's getting really hard for business, an entrepreneur business as well, to get in to get that. Like now. As far as that concerned, what is your platform of running for your being assembly? What is your main category of your platform?
Right. Okay. Well, we were talking about businesses, and I wanted to add is this that my family had a business. I know what it takes to make payroll. I know what it takes to pay insurance, to pay workman's comp. We stayed open really mainly because the employees who we fell in love with, we were living from check to check, and that's what a lot of businesses are doing now. They're barely making it, especially with all the hard regulations that are mandated here. But the reason why I'm running is that 3 out of every 5 jobs here in San Joaquin County are ag-related, and I believe the folks that have been in office don't take that in mind. They start thinking bigger, what Southern California is driving them to do, what the Bay Area is driving them to do. Here, my voice is for the community. It's for those folks that are working from check to check, to watch why are we continuing to pay more taxes. And I want to change that when I get to Sacramento. I want to make sure that I'm working with doesn't matter what party. I want to make sure that we're working, that it's going to be the best interest for our community, the best interest to drive businesses here into San Joaquin County, to bring more jobs here. Looking at how we can get around transportation, how folks can get around just easily around the community to get to one office to another. Those are the most important things for me. And as a 2-time county supervisor, everyone knows that they never have to contact me, my office. They can contact me by my cell phone because I'm accessible. And being away for the year and 4 months from the Board of Supervisors, I realize that folks still call me, and it's because of trust. They believe in, and when they call me, that I'm going to help them. I'm going to give them the right answer, or I'm going to make sure to guide them to where they need to go to. I'm not going to give them another number for them to dial. I'm going to make sure. My practice was always to get on the phone, stay on the phone, contact that person, and then have that person relay the information. At a certain point, I have to get off because of privacy.
Right.
But I would always tell that person, if this doesn't work, please call me back.
Okay.
And it's communicating.
Yes, I do believe that, a couple of times, like for me, I have, I do believe that if you already had your chances in politics and you did it, and you should go back and become a supervisor again, because you could skip and you did your 2 terms, you could go back and redo it again, because you know the in and out. Assembly, they did go in, and the first time I understand what the assembly really was you put the bill out, pass new law, pass new regulation. Right now we have I noticed that I want to give you an example. Now they passed a law that you can't have straw in the future. What about the lid? How are you gonna? Even the lid is even worse. So I don't understand how we're gonna drink out of the fountain drink, without no lid, no straw, in our environment.
Right. We need to get back to the basics. We really do.
Right. So what are you gonna do as far as the ton? What do you think about the twin tunnel? I know that they were gonna have 2, and I found out that Governor Brown decided to go 1 tunnel instead of 2. So they're going to 1 tunnel.
Right.
So does it make any difference if it's 1 and it doesn't affect our environment as well?
Either way, they're trying to get into, once they get their foot in, it's just to crack the door open and to really get what they want is to have the tunnels and to have water access to Southern California. Mm-hmm. What we really need to do is that we need to just be sitting at the table trying to help Southern California build more storage for their water. They need that. We need that here in San Joaquin County. We need it in Northern California. We don't, when we have runoff, it's running off and it's going in back into our creeks, it's going back into our oceans, and then we need to be able to conserve and preserve that water. And does it take money? Yes. Is the answer to have the tunnels built out? No. We know here, just in San Joaquin County alone, we're going to grow tremendously. So we do need our own water for those for the folks that are moving here. Right. We've had you've heard all the high prices in the Bay Area. We're getting more. Just go over to Mountain House in Tracy. They are building there more and more homes in Tracy, and it's growing. Yeah. So where are we going to get the water capacity?
Yeah, I totally agree. The water is a very important commodity, like I said, but also just for winning the farming system as well. Because right now, being at the assemblyman, you're going to be having a wide area to cover it. The watering, the farming, and the high-rise, and then the development and all that. So it takes a lot of know-how that you need to have that experience at the county level, that you've been to Tracy and all that, the county area, that the assembly person to qualify. As far as concerned about, as far as I love my train of thought already.
That's okay. Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like at assembly you have more responsibility representing the farm, the water, because they need water, they need cow. They have to use, what do you call that? The down water, land water.
Right.
Well water.
Well water.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
yeah.
And that's something, and they keep telling me that the more they use it, dry out really quick.
Right.
So how are we going to solve that issue?
Since the drought, we really did take a huge hit, but not just us. The whole state of California did take a hit.
Okay.
But you said it earlier. I mean, we're an ag community, and as much as our demographics tend to grow, and they're going to grow, but we're still going to be an ag community. That's never going to change here. We don't just feed the folks in this community. We feed not just the nation, but this world. I mean, we're well known, and we need to preserve that and to protect that. I mean, our it's not just about water. It's also about preserving our land here, and that's what makes this community one of the best communities in the world to live in.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love Stockton. I think Stockton has a different kind of culture, different kind of community. It's well diversified and really diverse. And
I got to also add, I've been doing a lot of walking door to door and really putting these hangers up and talking to folks. And I got to know a lot of folks in Mountain House, and also the folks in Tracy. And even though it's a commuter town, but a lot of those folks are also want to know what will change in this community. Even though they moved from the Bay Area here, they moved here for a reason. They moved up here because they fell in love with it, just like we are in love with our community. Right. And that's what you're going to get as far as as myself, Carlos Villapudua for State Assembly, is to be involved, be here. I know we have to spend a lot of time in Sacramento, but my time should also be here. I learned early on when I was a legislative aide. A lot of times it wasn't a legislative aide that they wanted to see. They wanted to see the county supervisor. And as much as we love our staff, I will have the best staff available, and I want you to help me find some of that staff, because I want to hear and I want to have folks from our community involved, because that's the important what's going to make this seat different than we've ever had.
Great. So that means that you're more like you're representing the diversity of all citizens in the county. That's wonderful. So Betty, do you have anything to add?
You know what? I have a question. In regards to the Doc and the Dreamers. Your thoughts on that, please?
Yeah. Well, those are, we've been hearing a lot of. It seems like it changes from day to day. I have family that were brought here from Mexico, and to see them go back, I couldn't see it. They can't even see it, because some of them never even been to Mexico, even though they were born there. So I know we need to figure out how we're going to allow them to become citizens, because they are citizens. They're from our community. They've been active in our community. They've been paying taxes into our community, and they are proud to be part of our community. And yes, we need to make them citizens.
So Betty, I know that Betty have her own show regarding people from Mexico about Professor. What is it, Professor?
That's Ismael Palacio Cortez. Of course, he's an awesome reporter.
And basically, what we were talking, I have family that come from. I have family that are citizen. I have family that are permanent resident. I got family that are not legal here, but they had the opportunity to get their paperwork done, but never got around to finish it on the time it expired. It's like, and I just tell them, look, stop being rebellious. Just do the paperwork. Don't wait till the last minute, and yet you're gonna be out of luck.
Out of time.
That's what I keep telling my family. That like, whose fault is that? I tell them my family. I'm not telling the people. But definitely it showed their urgency that if you really want to become a citizen, there's a Stockton, there's a Stockton adults that they offer citizenship.
Absolutely,
free.
Right?
Not free, but it costs like $250 or something like that to get your. You have to know your history, your government, and I think some kind of English. That's all.
Right.
To get your certificate, get your citizenship.
Right.
And I keep telling their resources that I said, look, they provide those things. Go after those things. But yeah, they're insecure because they don't know how to speak well. They don't want to know. They don't know if they can read the book correctly. So we need some kind of a social work or something like a translator that will encourage them to get their citizenship without being afraid that they're going to be deported.
Right.
Because do you, like a lot of people ask me already, do you support amnesty?
I don't think that they should be scared when it comes to
going to
school. I mean, here in San Joaquin County, none of that's going to happen here. I mean, we are big, caring folks when it comes to the community. When we're talking about that, the sad thing is that sometimes there's other folks that talk about it and all they talk about is the criminal aspect of it, right? Yeah. And I get that I understand that, but it comes out so negative that it scares a lot of folks.
Yeah, and
here
put
locally.
it together at one instead of separating it.
Right, but we do need reform. But it's got to be reform also to where people understand. Please don't fear it. Don't be scared. Don't be scared of it. I mean, let's get it done. There's a lot of folks that want to help, and there's not one farm worker owner that doesn't want to see their workers, become citizens. I've talked to many farm workers here in this community, and let me tell you, they love their workers. They would do anything to help them, but sometimes they don't know who to turn to also. So you're right, having a social worker communicate. I also believe that there should be, a social worker, with some of the fire and the police, because sometimes, when I look at police officers, they are playing that role also. They're wearing so many different hats, and that's why I'm a big supporter of our police and fire. But I think that we need to have some type of resource officer for them, because they run into situations sometimes that they don't have an answer.
Right.
So they got to be someone that we could that can not just be there for them, but to hold their hands and guide them to where they need to go to next.
That's the thing. That's a good observation. I really like that idea, because I think something like they should have when they're on patrol, they should have a social worker with them on their patrolling, because you never know what they do. It could be domestic violence, it could be people with a disability. They don't know that they could be somewhere that they don't understand, and they think, because when they call, they don't look at a suspect. They look at the perpetrator,
right?
Because nowadays you have to be, you're guilty until you're proven innocent, and it shouldn't be that. It should be the other way around. It should be innocent until you're proven guilty.
Right.
Nowadays they kind of change the concept around now.
Right.
So as far as that concerned, do you still support Swinston as far as that concerned? What do you think? Because a lot of people want, even though people want to see whether you're going to represent that district or not, they want to have some kind of official thing out of somewhere say, hey, this is not right. They want to avoid to be like, this is the one.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't know the history. The Swenson people do, but a lot of people from outside of the Swenson Park area don't know the history. In 2010, that came before the council to either one, have a different operator run it other than the city, or two, for it to be sold. And not to be negative at all, but my opponent was on that board actually pushing for that, and again, it didn't go anywhere, but now it's being brought up now, 2018, for the council to make a decision, and I don't know how far it's going to be kicked down the street, but this is not over yet. It really isn't. When my mom lives in that area, and she lives 4 blocks away from that, and I know not to go and visit her at certain times of the day, just because how hectic it is for traffic. But imagine, changing a park that people enjoy to go to, and I understand that it's not making money, right? But see, this goes back to where I say sometimes government is not going to give you the right answer. Government doesn't always make the right answer. Sometimes you got to have the private sector jump in, just like we treated the hospital that I mentioned earlier. You have to treat it the same. You got to have the folks that know how to balance a checkbook, make some changes, and make this a profitable part. we're so glad that a lot of folks are getting involved. I've been attending all the meetings, and I feel for that community. I understand the love for that park. Not only that, there's so many people that bought their homes knowing that that's where they were going to retire and have their backyard, or having a place for it's not just for adults, it's for kids too to go and enjoy. So I mean, and we need to have that green land there for many different reasons, for oxygen. I mean, it's just the list goes on and on.
Yeah, that's something that people want to hear, because people are asking me about that too, to ask you about it, because I said, look, because people are like, if ask the candidate, what do you think about Twinston? Because Twinston, to me, as a realtor, I have my life. It's inactive right now because I've been been on vacation for a while. But as far as my concern was that people that are around that area, location. That's what's with it. And when you drive a house that is already like in $500,000 houses, and you're gonna put affordable housing, affordable unit in that facility, it's gonna drive the value down, because people buying what the scenic. They find the park, it could be the ocean, it could be a river, it could be anything that's gonna bring the value into their neighborhood. Yeah. So when I see a developer, this one is hungry for money to go and get it and disrupting that value, what people are paying for, like 300. The average house is like 300,000 to $500,000. So if you put I call it a project or a second home or a low income, whatever they call it, but they can drive the prices down because there's no scenic, price. So I definitely see that it'd be a conflict and landlord losing their value of home.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of issues there. Water issues. We don't have the capacity for that. I mean, you have wildlife there that live there, and to even erupt that, there's folks again that have lived there. My mom lives in a condo right down the street, and it's a small 2-bedroom, but the fact that she can walk closely, and a lot of times she doesn't drive her car just because of the traffic alone. She'll walk all the way. I'll tell her, Mom, why are you walking so far? You can get in your car. She's like, I either have to leave early in the morning or late at night, and I don't like leaving or driving my car at late at night because of all the traffic.
Okay, now getting close to time to leave. So the last final question, like I'm gonna have to, why should people vote for you? Why?
Well,
why are you running?
I'm running because of for the last year and 4 months, when I was away from politics, I realized it wasn't just because of the phone ringing and people asking me to help them, and I never said no, to them. But I realized that I love what I do. I love that I can help somebody. I don't know what my day is going to be, because sometimes you just cannot have a calendar. It's not about, I can't talk to that person, or should I talk to that person. I love talking to anyone. And that's why sometimes I didn't belong to any committees, or Republicans or Democratic groups, because I never wanted to be one-sided. I always wanted folks to know me to know me as I'm going to get things done. They can rely on me. I'm a hard worker. And people know that when they call up, I'm going to give them the right answer. I'm not going to beat around the bush, and I'm going to fight for them. I'm also, the most important thing is that I'm going to listen to them. I'm going to listen to their concerns, because this community is where I have my 4 daughters that I'm raising. I have a 2.5-year-old, and I think about her future, and I think about everyone at her age. How is this community going to look in 4, 10, 12 years? I'm not going anywhere. And I love my community, and I want to represent you at the state level. And not only at the state level, I want to be able to communicate and work at the local level. And that's the difference that you will get, and why I'm running. Is because I want to be able to bring back all the concerns that I listen to folks from here, and I want to be able to have a team of folks for this community that are not trying to get into the political arena, that are just doing it because they want the best for this community. And that's my team, and that's what I want to bring to San Joaquin County. And these are cities in Mountain House, Tracy, Stockton, and Lodi, and French Camp.
So that's the area, but what about Ripon?
No, Ripon is that is
That's San Joaquin.
That's Heath Flora.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. That's awesome. So great. Okay. Thank Carlo. I wish you the best. I wish you good luck on your campaign. I thank you for coming. So all of you who are running for office, you're more than welcome to come and talk. It's free, and you could talk. You could be the voice. And thank you. You are the voice of everyone that are not able to talk. And I think just your skill, just learning from you from the social worker aspect, I think you'll represent a good well of people that will represent people that
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for everything for watching. Thanks for everything. The Vigil show, the Voice of Stockton. Thank you. Have a good Saturday afternoon. Bye bye.